Sean is up in Idaho fishing, and Mike was going somewhere as well. So neither one of those will be here. And then Kaylee is, she was off today and a few days this week. So Cody is our cute little city admin or clerk tonight. So he's handling her duties, at least for running all the electronic stuff in there. Let me send the mayor a text there. Oh, just got one from you. Having a hard time getting into WebEx. You guys have that problem too? I find it's easier if I don't use if I download the app, it doesn't let me log in really well. So if I just pull it up and then sign in, I can usually get in easier. I don't know why that is, but. They've kind of figured this out. They're kind of good about this. So they gave us what was it, Cody, about a 3 or a 4 month trial to use that thing, and then it lapsed on us last week, and it reverts back to this 55-minute meetings. And so we had to subscribe at that point. And then they got all these different plans. I forgot to Cody this one. The real cheap one might have worked. The one that was a step up was a little bit better, and I was going to do that one. Then you had to pay it a year in advance, and I was hoping we're not going to use it for a full year. So then I had to go up to the $19 one to just do it on a month-to-month basis. They got this all worked out. They know exactly the situation everybody's in, and they got us. But now that we've used it, got used to it, it's hard to switch. And it's still a good program. It's the same or similar prices as all the other ones. So there's Roger. Hey, Roger. You're looking good. Glad you joined us. Okay, I'm seeing some signs that the mayor may have been on, so it's getting close. Mayor, can you hear us yet? I see that you're logged on, or it's getting close.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yep. We can at least hear you. I don't have a picture on you yet, but that may be coming, but we can't hear you now, so there you go. All right. I think we've got everybody here that's going to be mayor, so whenever you're ready to go.
Okay, is Steve Hilton here?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right, sorry for not being prompt. I just couldn't get in. I was trying to get on my desktop. Now I got my iPad, so kind of twisted things around a little bit. I'd like to welcome you to our City Council meeting work session this evening. For the record, all City Council members are present. I'd like to excuse Shaylee, our city recorder. She's having some surgery this week, and we hope all is well with her, and would like to excuse her. So I'd like to ask Councilor Mitchell if he'll lead us with the pledge when the appropriate time. Thank you, Braden. Guess we have a flag for that, Steve, is that right?
Yes, sir. We're ready to roll.
Super good. Move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment that we're aware of this evening?
I don't have any text.
Okay, anyone aware of anything? Okay.
Mayor, if I could, while we get going, we'll be using a different email tonight because Cody's filling in. So anybody that goes that route would it'll be posted on that board. He's changed that, so it'll be different than what we've been using, where it was Shaylee's. So it'll be Cody's. And once we go on the live stream, well, it's showing up right now on the YouTube, so it'll be Cody's, and he'll be the one that'll be checking that.
All right. Rich, will be doing text messages, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, move on to presentations and reports. City administration report. Do you have anything for this meeting, Steve?
No, I don't. We'll just say what little we have for down there. There's nothing important that we need to bring up, so.
Mayor, we forgot the Pledge of Allegiance.
Excuse me?
We forgot the pledge. Moment of silence.
We'll do that in the city. We'll do that in the city council meeting.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Come on, Brent. It hasn't been that long.
That's all right, Brad. I have a hard time remembering that too. You got to remember which meeting you're in because it's different when you're not sitting in the conference room. So
Yeah, I'll mute my mic. So
why don't you mute your mic? Is there any questions on the city administration report? Well, you guys are easy. I'm glad we started late. So move on to the consent items. Consideration to approve the meeting minutes from June 16th, 2020, our city council work session, and our city council regular session. And also on June 22nd, our city council, the special meeting we had to talk about the CARES Act and funding. So do we have any changes or corrections?
Mayor,
Mr. Ellis?
I sent Shaylee an email on page 8 where it talks about threatening suicide on the second sentence. The word male is spelled M-A-I-L instead of M-A-L-E. So on
Okay.
page 8. So I sent her a text so she can correct that when she gets back.
Okay, super. Yeah, she should take care of that. Is there any other changes or corrections? Seeing that, we'll move on to the action items. Consideration of resolution 20-15. This is to approve an interlocal agreement between Riverdale City, Roy City, and the Weber Fire District concerning automatic mutual aid and EMS first responder services. That's Chief Shawley.
Thanks, Mayor. So what this is, it goes outside of our normal mutual aid response. It just is considering first responders, not engine response, fire response, ambulance response. This is getting an engine company to our city if we're out of service, and we're sharing that with Roy and Weber Fire District to make sure that happens.
All right. Any questions for the chief? Okay.
Hey, Chief, that doesn't have anything to do with our agreement with South Ogden, or is this a cohort between us and South Ogden going with Roy and Weber County, or?
No, these are two different things. So since we border Weber County Fire District and Roy, and we have a lot of call volume that goes back and forth that way, we want to get something official that says we'll run back and forth and help each other with first responders. If their engines are busy and they can't get to a house with an ambulance crew, we're going to help each other out. It's one of the things that's lacking in that countywide mutual aid, auto aid response contract.
No, I understand all that. I was just wondering if our agreement with South Ogden, we're basically entering into an agreement with Roy and Weber Fire District. So with our agreement with South Ogden, do they have to be a part of this as well?
No.
Of our decision to help others, and
No,
it's like we have an agreement, they have an agreement, so now we're entering into another agreement. So do we enter them with us, or are we independent as well?
no, because we already have an agreement with South Ogden. South Ogden has independently went into an agreement with Weber Fire District to do the exact same thing up on the East Bench. So it's just the cities that are touching us that we're having these agreements, and we already have the agreement with South Ogden. It's pretty much all the fire departments outside of Ogden are making these agreements because we cannot count on Ogden to bring any resources. So all the cities outside of Ogden are trying to cover our bases to make sure we're getting resources into our cities. Ogden has clearly stated they're not bringing more than one engine outside of their city, no matter what, unless we force them into a mutual aid response that they have no option but to send something.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, hope that's clear.
There's mud.
Any other questions? Okay, move on to action item number 2. This is consideration of resolution 2020-16. This is to approve an interlocal agreement between Riverdale City and Weaver County concerning an interlocal agreement to assist with the distribution of CARES Act funding. Mr. Brooks.
This is just the formal follow-up to what we discussed with you guys a couple of weeks ago when we got that, your permission to enter in that agreement with the county. They just want something in writing saying that, we're moving forward on that. I apologize, we didn't have that in the packet. I do have that and can share that with you if you want to look at it. It basically just lays out all the parameters and just say that we'll agree to cooperate and all that kind of stuff. And I have it, but like I said, it's not in the packet. I don't think when the one I looked at just right before we came in here, and I didn't have time to email it to you, but I can share that with you on the screen if you want to look at it. Nothing surprising in there. Cody, I don't know if you have anything more you want to add on that. They did send us an email today. They're already in the process of evaluating a lot of these business districts or businesses. I think they said they'd had 311 applications, which I thought was kind of low, but and they'd already gone through 200 of them. And so we can send out letters and follow up on all that to our businesses, letters and emails telling them that this money's available. So hopefully a lot of those are ours. But this is just the formal agreement with the Weaver County. And we have to send them our share of money and stuff like that once this is done. We've been putting this off. We were going to do it last meeting, and then that one got canceled. So they're kind of biting at the bit to get this from us. Cody, you got anything else you want to add on that?
No, that's pretty much it. So
I think the county's got about 5,000 or 6,000 businesses they send out information to. So that sounds right. There's a bunch.
yeah, I think that's right. I think they've got like 5,900 businesses that they've contacted either by email or by mailers.
Yeah.
They've even put together like a video and a few things trying to promote this. And they've got about $11 million, I think, in this first go around to give out in these grants. So.
That's good. I know they did the initial. I know we did also send out emails and letters to businesses, and the county did. Then I think last week they did emails again and also postcards to all the businesses just mentioned. So they're trying to get the word out on this, but 300 out of about 6,000, that's not very many, but maybe there aren't going to be many that actually request assistance. So.
Cody, maybe you would explain just quickly the cost to us in regards to that, just so we understand that, because that's probably more impacting on the council than anything.
So we received in this first distribution, let me tell you exactly, $261,427. And so then if you remember, we agreed to give the county 90%. So following this meeting, if you guys decide to approve this interlocal agreement, we'll transfer to the county $235,000 to give out as these grants. And then the difference, the remaining about 26,000, we can utilize as the city to pay for things like at the beginning of the meeting Steve was talking about is WebEx subscription, things like that, PPE, other things that the city's incurred that falls under the CARES Act funding. We can use that money to help offset the additional cost the city has had. So I don't know if you have any other questions about that for me.
It's pretty quiet. We appreciate what you've done on this, Cody and Steve, on getting the word out and participating in this. I know there's taken some time to do it. Shayla helped a lot with emails and correspondence. Move on next to action item 3, consideration of resolution 2020-17. This is to declare property held by the city as surplus or otherwise no longer viable for city use or purposes, and authorizing the use of sale of the same. Chief Brinkman.
Thanks, Mayor. This is just city property that we have in our current gym that we approved in our budget to replace. So we just need to get that surplus so we can put it up for sale and see if it'll sell and get going on the new gym.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Chief Brinkman? Okay.
Chief, is this going to be like a Dutch auction, or are we going to sell that? Advertise it?
Yeah, we've just been advertising it. A lot of times we'll probably just put it on KSL or something like that for sale.
Any other questions on it? Move on next to our closing. We're going to have a closed executive session in our regular city council meetings. So we'll go ahead and do that. Do we have any discretionary business for our work session?
I have a question for Mr. Brooks.
Okay, Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir.
Just looking at that resolution on the CARES Act, it actually has a paragraph that says we have fully reviewed the agreement.
Right.
Any concern with not actually having reviewed the agreement?
Well, and that's why I have this available if you want to look at it. And we can pull it up in a regular meeting, or we can do it now if we got enough
No,
time.
I trust you as long as you're good that the resolution says we did, but none of us could have.
No, and it's all the stuff that we talked about previously, you know, our obligations and their obligations. So it's just been put in writing, but I'll share that with you. Then you have it. It's only about 5 pages long. Actually, it's about 15 total, but 10 of those are all signature pages. So just the document itself is only 5 pages. It's not bad.
Okay.
I have just one clarification. When we do a resolution, we vote on it, it's actually signed by the mayor, right? Resolutions are signed by the mayor, so it goes through us. So when he's signing the document, he's basically saying that he's the one that read it. I mean, even though we can read it, I'm not saying we can't read it. I'm saying when the mayor signs it through the resolution, he's saying that we don't all sign it. So it's actually his signature saying he's reviewed it.
Yeah.
In this particular case, Alan, it actually says the Riverdale City
Yeah.
fully reviewed this.
I've been putting that in a lot of those as of late, and normally we would have that in the packet. It was just and Shaylee's been gone. I didn't catch it till that's coming down here. I just didn't have time to get it to you, but I think you're both right. Alan, normally that would be the situation, but this resolution does state that, as Steve pointed out. But I think we'll have a few minutes here. We can shift that up so you can look at it before we get into the meeting anyway. So
Yeah, you got about 10 minutes. Any other discretionary? Well, we've got just a few minutes. I'll mention one thing I don't have on tonight, but some of you on Facebook, it seemed like every so many months that we have a resident come up and said they understand that we're sending our recycling to the landfill, and that come up again here about a week ago, so I got involved with that, tried an answer. In fact, I was addressed in the Facebook item, and there was concern, and one individual, he knew the city was sending it to the landfill, and there were comments in there about how we were charging more for our recycling material, and then we turned around and sent it to the landfill. And made some phone calls. I called Steve Robinson the night I saw that because I knew that we were doing with recycled earth. There were a couple of newspaper articles first to last week. One of them came out, and it was from recycled earth, and well, the cities basically, and that there were some cities in Weber County. I think Ogden City, I think North Ogden, Terrace, maybe South Ogden, that were actually, according to Recycled Earth, we're actually sending it to the landfill. And Dave Rawson, the owner of, he and his wife own Recycle Earth. They said in there that in the article that they named off all the cities, and in there Riverdale City was one that was bringing recycling material to the Recycle Center for Recycling. So I got on the phone, I'd read that, and then there was a follow-up article in the newspaper. A lot of the residents, I think, in Ogden, they'd expressed their unhappiness at city council meeting in Ogden because what was happening, they were sorting all their material and putting it in their, I guess, blue cans, whatever color they have, and then it was going to the landfill. A lot of them were pretty upset, and probably deservedly so. So anyway, with that, what I'd read in the paper, I just wanted to be sure. So I called Steve Robinson, who you all know, I'm sure, and he's done our waste, hauled our waste for several years, a lot of years, and talked with him at his home that night, and he assured me, yes, all of our recycled material is going to the recycle center, and he said, he did state, he did tell me, he says they've never taken our recycled material to the landfill. So that kind of, I went back and I posted the two articles that was in the paper, in at least the one, and where Dave Rawson said that we were in fact bringing it to the land for the Recycled Earth Center, and showed him that. I responded, and also there was a question on price. You know, they're saying we're charging more for recycling our blue cans than we do the black. Well, in reality, we charge $3.12 a month. And Sean, you can correct me if you need to, but I looked at the fee schedule. We charge $3.12 a month for the blue cans, and we in turn pay, I think, is at $10.40 or about 10 something for the first black can, and 5 some for additional cans. So we're giving them a really, you know, I told them that we've kept the price down. We have absorbed some of that cost with our other trash that we're doing, and but we were doing it in an effort to support the people with their desire to recycle and encourage recycling. So that's basically what I told them. I have written the August newsletter article. I turned that in, I think it was on Monday, well, yesterday on Monday, and I did go into pretty good detail in there about what we're doing and the price, but people seem to get a little testy with that every 6 months or so, but I'll just share that with you, council, so you know what's going on, because people ask questions about recycling. So, and that's about all I got. Do you have any questions for me, or we got about just a few minutes here? Had to work. I stayed at home tonight. We have a son that delivers bread to supermarkets. He came home from work today and he was, his whole body was aching and had a lot of problems with that. So he took a shower, went to bed, and I made the choice not to come to city office tonight. So I'm working at home like many of you. So just hoping he's going to be okay. He's been exposed probably to this thing for ever since it started. So we've been pretty fortunate here. So what time we got, Steve?
I got about 5:02, so I will post that, share that here. I also sent an email while the member was speaking there. You all should have gotten that in an email, so one form or another, it'll be there, but I'll share it on this screen as well. So we'll have a few minutes to look it over before we go into our regular meeting.
Okay. You guys are welcome to look at that if you like.
I've read that. Looks just like I thought it would.
We'll do a pop quiz on this at the end, see how much of it you even read or understood.
Okay.
Anybody else trying to control the scroll on this thing and it's just not working?
Will it not go down, Alan, or is it just?
No, it's your screen. So when you scroll, I'm trying to scroll it and it doesn't work.
Sorry. I thought I had my own here. Tell me if you need me to go down or whatever you need me to do. So. Hey, we're rookies at this stuff, I'm telling you.
You ready for your quiz, Steve?
You bet. You bet. I'm cramming for it right now.
Hey, Steve,
Yeah,
I've got another fire.
all right.
So
Go get it done.
get back in.
Have fun.
Yeah. All right. We okay covering my spot with you?
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
Okay. Thanks.
You need to get Chief Shawley a GoPro so we can watch what's going on when he's running.
Yeah, I'd vote for that. It's a great idea.
How are you doing, Roger?
I'm doing okay, Mayor.
Good. You look good.
I'm just trying to eat. Food tastes like cardboard.
Still does, huh?
Yeah.
That's too bad. You'll appreciate it when it starts tasting good.
That's for sure. Doing okay overall.
Good.
One today, so just trying to keep my magnesium levels up.
Well, let's keep after. I'm sure it's something you have to keep an eye on all the time, what you're doing right at this stage of the game. What are you, about day 40, 42, or somewhere in there, aren't you?
41.
41, huh?
Yep.
Well, glad all that's behind you.
Yeah, I got to get to at least day 60 with no problems. Knock on wood.
Well, You're 2/3 the way there, so.
Good to see you guys.
Has everybody had a chance to get through that?
Yep.
I'll stop sharing it if we have.
I noticed that mentions the county as the controlling entity and no board.
Yeah, I mean, they have a board put together, but nobody from Riverdale's on that we've been contacted at this point, so.
Okay.
That was part of the downfall if we give up, you know, our rights to control that by giving it to the county, but, you know, they were already set up, like even this interlocal has been drafted for some time. They were set up and ready to go. And so we were starting from scratch. It was almost a no-brainer to just hand it to them because I don't know that we'd come up with anything much different, you know.
They'd win anyway, so.
They would. And we just don't have the manpower either. I mean, it's like Cody's already overwhelmed and, you know, I'm covering for Roger right now too. And it's like, and Stacy really doesn't have time. So we didn't really have anybody to send. The mayor, like, that, you know, it was good for him. And we just didn't know where to even go with it. And it was kind of like, we just better let them handle it.
Question, did they give a listing of where those businesses that do put in an application, where they're located? Meaning, do we have an idea of anybody from Riverdale submitting?
So they're supposed to provide a report, and I think they've been sending it to the mayor of who's been applying. And I don't think it's as detailed as like it was Applebee's or whoever, but within Riverdale, there's been X number of applicants.
You know, I've never had an email with that number with the numbers in a county meeting a week ago Friday, their COVID-19 meeting. And they talked in that meeting, they talk about CARES, but they said at that time Riverdale had 30 that had submitted, and that was a week ago Friday, so about 10 minutes ago. But I haven't seen it on a regular basis. I haven't been seeing how many or who, so. Get a lot of other emails. Okay, we ready for city council?
I think we are, Mayor.
I don't know what happened to my picture. I don't know what.
It pops in every once in a while.
Does it?
Hey,
Yeah.
Mayor, I think your camera got flipped. I think it's looking at the rear facing instead of the front facing camera. Because it looks like it's looking at your case.
Looks like you flatlined.
Well, it is. That was a blue line, chief. We'd be good, wouldn't we?
There you go. We saw something. Part of your screen.
I just lifted it up. You're actually seeing my desktop, so. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you don't need to see me anyway, so. Is there an easy way to flip that?
And you're using your iPad?
Yeah, I had to switch to that when I couldn't get in on the desktop, so.
If you touch your own picture, there's a button called switch camera.
Hey, you're pretty smart. Good job, Steve. All right, I'd like to welcome you this evening to our city council meeting on Tuesday, July 21st, 2020. For the record, all city council members are present tonight. We would like to excuse our city recorder, Shaylee Evans, who is attending some medical issues this week. So we excuse her and we wish her the best in her surgery and her recovery. So I've asked Councilor Mitchell. No, Councilor Mitchell just got back from Mount Rushmore. This is kind of impromptu, Braden, but if you'd like to mention anything about Mount Rushmore before you do the pledge, lead us in the pledge, you're welcome to.
I
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, actually, it was a neat experience. You know, there's a lot going on right now and a lot of opinions about the founders and stuff, and they put on a pretty nice program there. And we went in the morning because the lighting's better, the sun's on there, but then we went back at night for a lighting ceremony, and it was really impressive ceremony, and went through a little background on each of the founders, and it was pretty impressive, and it was really patriotic and made you really appreciate what some of those guys did, for this country and some of the sacrifices that they made so that we can all enjoy the freedoms that we do. So, with that, if everyone will please arise and repeat the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Braden.
You bet.
Move on next to our moment of silence. Customary, we take a moment of silence and as we remember those who are serving this nation, that are serving. We remember police, our firefighters, those who are protecting us here locally. And we also like to remember our healthcare workers who are very busy at this time. And we'd also ask you to remember our city council in our meeting this evening. They might make good choices and decisions as they work in your behalf with our agenda tonight. So with that, can we take a moment of silence, please? Thank you very much. Move on next to public comment. Period of time you're able to address the council, present any ideas you have for the city, for the council, any concerns you might have, you're able to share with them. Do we have any public comment tonight? Rich, do you have anything?
I don't have any text, Mayor.
Okay, Cody.
I do not have anything either.
All right, thank you. I did ask, I've asked Shaylee that where Ritter Drive wasn't on the agenda this evening, that she would save those emails and they would be read in the meeting the night that is back on the agenda. So just in case you're wondering about that. Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll move on to the mayor's report. I've got just a few things. First of all, COVID-19, I had a report last Friday from Weber County. The health department, Riverdale City at that time had 32 cases of COVID-19. The previous number was 26. The city went up 6 cases, about 20% in about 4 days. So things have been on the rise. I know the last 2 days statewide, the numbers have been down, which is a good thing. So just encourage everyone to take safety precautions to protect themselves from the things that are from the COVID-19 virus. So I did have an email I received. It was from President Janet DeYoung, who lives in Riverdale, been here a long time. I'll read this email. It's fairly short. It says, Dear Mayor Searle and city officials, I simply want to thank you for the efforts to beautify the city. It was an interesting experience watching the roundabouts behind Sam's Club and Walmart take shape. I frequently take the roundabouts, and as the project began, my thought was commotion. Excuse me, my thought was confusion at what was even happening. Now, as I drive around them, I marvel at the vision and insight someone had to create something so pleasing to see. They are a wonderful addition to a peaceful alternative to a usually busy Riverdale road. Thanks again, Janet DeYoung. And she sent that email to me before they even got the metalwork put on the roundabout. So I'm sure she's probably even more impressed than she was then. But we certainly appreciate the effort there. I know a lot of that was contracted, but Sean, we appreciate your help in beautifying that road along there. There's a lot of people travel that. It is a peaceful alternative, like Janice said. It's a nice kind of a byway that many people use. Also, and I think we mentioned this before, Sean, but our grounds here in front of the building are just, they just really look really good. And I think, we're looking forward already talking about Veterans Day and trying to look at what we'll do there. But you look at our Veterans Memorial and how much the new landscaping, removing all those old bushes and things, how much that's beautified our Veterans Memorial. I think it's just really a beautiful thing there. And I noticed the roundabouts on 4400, they look great, Sean. They all look good. And we just extend our thanks to our public works people for the great job they're doing to make things look good. So thank you, Sean.
Sean's actually not here tonight. He's where Roger wants to be. He's on his way to Idaho to do some fishing right now. So I mentioned that when we were waiting for you to log in, but you didn't hear that. So I apologize for that. But I'll pass that stuff on to him. We told him as well in our meetings how much we appreciate it and what a nice job they've done. But I'll pass it on from both you and the council.
Yeah, they really, really have. So next item, this last week, we were notified that we're receiving an award. And this was the Partners in Education Award. It's sponsored by the Ogden-Weber Chamber of Commerce. We were recognized, Riverdale City was recently recognized by the Partners in Education Committee as Community Partner of the Year for the Weber School District. And this award, they came last week. They presented it to me in the city office. Emily Euler, Executive Director, Weber School Foundation, and Janice Voss, Executive Director of the Ogden School Foundation. They were accompanied by Lindsay Baird, Principal of Riverdale Elementary, who nominated Riverdale City for the notable award. That's really quite an award. They usually have a breakfast in April down in the Eccles building, and they recognize the different people that help with education. It's really a neat award to get, and just a lot of people. She wrote a real nice, Mrs. Baird, our principal here at school, she accompanied them. She was there, and she did write the nomination. And I thought of reading that nomination letter to you tonight, but I think in interest of time and the setting we're in, I'll email that to you, all of you, and you can read it.
Mr. Mayor,
Art?
thank you. I'd like to give a shout out to Rich, because one of the things that has happened is that the community center has become much more available and used by the elementary school, and that's Rich, who has been very accommodating in these last few years that has increased the school's usage during class time. And so a lot of that from Mrs. Baird, the principal, is seen for the cooperation of Rich. So a shout out to you.
Good. I've got that letter here. I think I'm going to go ahead and read it. We've got plenty of time. We're doing well. This is written by Lindsay Baird. She said, it is my honor to nominate Riverdale City for the Weaver School District Community Partners Education Award. She says, soon after I began at Riverdale Elementary, I was visited by Norm Searle, Riverdale City Mayor. Mr. Searle had no other reason to visit other than to welcome me to the Riverdale community. He explained that he hosted a lunch with the mayor event several times a year and expressed the excitement for me to be a part of it. Soon after that, Mr. Rich Taylor and Miss Elise Anger came from the Riverdale Community Center, RCC, came to visit. They educated me on the programs that RCC had to offer to the students of Riverdale Elementary. They extended the use of the RCC and its resources whenever the school needed it. I was impressed with their dedication to the community and their willingness to help our school. Since those visits, the city and school have created a partnership that supports each other for the benefits of the students of Riverdale City. For example, at least 50 students who have made positive choices go to the Riverdale City Community Center once a week to participate in at least 5 activities that the RCC staff has ready. Because of numerous opportunities for students to access the community center, students have created relationships with the staff that will be long-lasting. Mr. Taylor has come to the school to help judge the school Elks free throw contest. Several city leaders attended an assembly at Riverdale Elementary, facilitated by students from Bonneville High School. The presence of the city leaders communicated to the students that they supported the message being taught and cared about the choices students made. RCC has also supported large assemblies which are scheduled to be held at this community center. The community center will be hosting movies in the park with the school providing concessions. All proceeds from the concessions will go back to the school. Additionally, one of the first things I noticed after school started was that there is an officer always parked in front of our building before and after school. When I thanked Lieutenant Casey Warren, he stated that practice is a requirement of their patrol officers. I've been in schools where if parents see police car, they automatically assume something is wrong because there is never a police present. So kudos to our police. Because of the intense needs of some students at Riverdale Elementary, the school administration calls on the help of Riverdale City PD often to ensure the wellness of our students. The Riverdale Police Department always makes themselves available when it comes to our students. They help with students who have not been picked up from school, conduct home-based wellness checks, and assist with security concerns. Each time they come in a manner that communicates kindness with the intention to help, so that each student's encounter with authority figures ends with a feeling of safety rather than intimidation. In my career, I have served in 10 different schools. I've never experienced the community involvement that I've experienced in Riverdale. Every day I am thankful that I was placed at a school with such supportive community leaders and Science sincerely, Lindsay Baird, Principal, Riverdale Elementary School. But that's really nice, and that's a great thing, and that reflects back on all of you staff and your people, because Riverdale City does a lot to help the schools, and we in turn help the other 3 schools, as you know, with our Lunch with the Mayor program and other things we do with some of those schools. So hats off to all of you for that. That's a special award, and it's always good when we see we're working with the children and the student or the teachers and their staff. They really have a big job, and if we can help lighten the load, it's I think it's really a benefit to all of us. So thank you for your help with that. Hope that wasn't too long, but I thought it's pretty nice what she said about the city. So, okay. Had one other thing, but Chief Shawley left.
He's back now, Mayor.
Is he back? Well, we're glad you're back, Chief. I was going to mention on July 4th, our Old Glory Days was canceled, and I don't know how the rest of you felt, but it was a pretty somber day in the city. It was really quiet and not a lot going on. That evening, on the evening of the 4th, they were setting up families to do fireworks out in the street, and around came Chief Shawley in his chief's vehicle and had his lights on, and was just right at dusk, and he came around and presented all the children and those out in the streets what looked like it was a glow-in-the-dark necklace. Was that right, Chief? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It was kind of a safety thing, I think, but saw that. I watched that out my front window, and I thought that was pretty special. The things are pretty, like I say, it was just a different kind of 4th, and see the extra effort of the chief or somebody to go out and try to brighten up the day for the children. I thought that was really commendable. So thank you, Chief. We appreciate you and the things you do. I know you do a lot for the city and the schools and everybody. So one last thing, the Bonneville's Community That Care, they have that 5K and half marathon every fall. They planned it this year for August 22nd. That was canceled about a week ago due to the COVID-19. It's actually been rescheduled to August of 2021. So, did you have something, Bart? Looked like you started to speak up. I'm sorry. All right, that's all I've got. I keep getting feedback from somewhere. Move on next to the administration report. Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Mayor. When we hear these kind of reports and stuff, it's not even surprising to me because I work with these guys every day and I see what they do. And sometimes I think that I hold them back, especially right now where I'm covering for Roger too. Roger's a little nicer than I am. And they want to go forward. They want, especially Rich. Rich is in one of those departments that he's got all these people biting at the bit to get stuff done. So, it's refreshing. It's just nice to work in a place where you have people that are so professional and do such a good job. And you see Jared, running from fire to fire. And just recently I was over at Scott's office one day, and I don't think I've shared this with you, but there was a complaint, which we get quite often, and not quite often, but we get them. And Scott always pulls the tapes on these things, and I happened to be in his office that day, so we watched this. And it was one of our less seasoned officers, but the way they handle those situations is just amazing to me, because this was complete abuse towards a police officer, and our guys handled it so well, and it's just amazing. I appreciate all they do and how they represent Riverdale City, because we just don't, you don't get them much better than that in every department. So just leading into that, and when you read these department reports, that'll be my segue into this. I mean, you can see all the stuff that they do, and our world hasn't changed. It's just evolved. I mean, we're still doing everything that we were before, but we've got all these weird things that keep coming at us every week, and it's just like we come into our jobs every Monday wondering what's going to be new this time, and it just continues, and they just adapt, and they do it as professionally as you could ever ask. So those reports are there. If you have any questions, I think we have most of them here. Sean and Mike are, but the other departments heads are here if you have any questions on any of the things that they've listed in there. I did want to just point out, if there isn't anything there, if you had questions on that, on our July anniversaries, there's 3 of them there, and I kind of want to point them out just because of the number of years. Randy Koger just passed 30 years with Riverdale City. Randy's got, again, one of those real thankless jobs, but we ask him to go over and talk to somebody. It's usually done in that same day, so that always makes it nice. And then we had 2 police officers, Officer Peterson and Officer Wright, both set 18 and 17 years respectively. And we appreciate what they've done and just hope that they stay around a lot longer. Those guys are extremely valuable, and like I said, they're so good. And there's a number of others on there. We've got some firefighters and different things, but just not near as many years. And then Shaylee, of all things, if you can believe that, just passed her 1-year anniversary, and she's not even here for us to tease her. So,
Hey, Steve?
Yeah.
Can I just mention one thing about Randy real quick with this being his 30th? So since I've came here, Randy's been an instrumental part to the fire department. He's not only doing the code enforcement stuff, but he is actively being the fire marshal now and doing fire investigations on his own. He has gone out and educated himself and done a lot of things to better himself as the fire marshal and now an investigator. The state of Utah fire marshal's office came in on that Aaron's fire, and Randy hit that Aaron's fire perfect on cause and origin. And that the first fire was very complicated. It had a lot of aspects to it, and Randy was able to take care of that. And I really appreciate the efforts he's done towards the fire department. I know he's primarily the code enforcement guy, but right now he's up investigating a brush fire, and he does that all the time. He comes out in the middle of the night. On that last Aaron's fire, he came out at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he left at 6 o'clock in the morning so we could secure the scene all night long and keep it safe that we can investigate it.
Thanks, Jerry. Staffing authorization continues as is. During these times right now, I don't see a lot of that changing. There wouldn't be, hopefully, any serious need to hire someone, and we're just kind of taking those on a case-by-case basis anyway. Mike's community development report is in there. He's not here to report on that, but it is in there. And other than that, finance report, Cody, did you have anything you wanted to mention on any of that stuff? Okay. Cody's a man of many words, but he certainly gets a lot done around here. I appreciate it. Just like today, he was actually off today, and I had to call him back in to help cover because I knew we'd be in trouble without him, with Shaylee being gone. But that's all I have under the administration report, Mayor.
All right. Do you have any questions for Mr. Brooks?
I had one.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was just kind of curious. I didn't see the sales tax revenue report in there, and I'd just be interested to see how the sales tax revenues are being impacted by the COVID-19. So that'd be, if you want to throw it in the next time or whatever, that'd be something interesting to see.
Yeah, so far it's continued about the same. Actually, I just barely got an email this afternoon with the information for this month. So I can put that together for next packet. So.
Okay, great. Surprisingly, it stayed pretty good, so it's been good. Any other questions on this? Move on next to the consent items. Consideration to approve the meeting minutes from June 16th, our city council work session, and our city council regular session, and also our June 22nd city council special meeting that was held. Do we have any other changes or corrections other than what was discussed in our work session? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion on the, to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the consent items.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. And that's the motion to approve them with the recognized changes, right, that we
That's
talked
correct.
about. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous in favor. We'll move on next to the consent items. I think, Mr. Brooks, most of these are resolutions with Shaylee gone. Are you going to poll the council, or do we have someone else to do that?
I'll go ahead and do it, Mayor.
Okay.
It's the action items, but
Action items, correct.
Okay, first action item, consideration of resolution 2020-15. This is to approve an interlocal agreement between Riverdale City, Roy City, and the Weaver Fire District concerning automatic mutual aid and EMS first responder services. Chief Shawley.
Thanks, Mayor. So we already have agreements between these same cities and other cities for fire protection and some ambulance service stuff. This is primarily the outer lining cities that are not Ogden that are going to help us provide first responder response in case our engines are busy, their engines are busy, just to get the next closest unit to that emergency. And so that covers this. So this agreement covers the kind of the hole we have in the other agreements.
Okay, any questions on this?
Mayor,
Go ahead.
move to approve resolution 2020-15 as stated within the packet.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Brooks, will you poll the council on the resolution, please?
Counselor Mitchell,
Aye.
Counselor Ellis,
Aye.
Counselor Arnold,
Aye.
Counselor Stevens,
Aye.
Counselor Hilton.
Aye.
It's unanimous in favor. Move on to action item number 2. This is consideration of resolution 2020-16. This is to approve an interlocal agreement between Riverdale City and Weber County concerning an interlocal agreement to assist with the distribution of CARES Act funding. Mr. Brooks.
As I mentioned previously in the planning meeting, this is just a formal process that we have to go through. It just follows up with what we came in and talked about. It's been probably about a month ago now. This involves the distribution of the CARES Act funding to local businesses, and the county via the Fed required to have interlocal agreements with anybody they're going to do that distribution for. And so we've handed that out and let you take a look at that, and would ask you pass that so we can get this turned back into the county.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Brooks on this?
Mayor,
Go ahead.
move to approve resolution 2020-16 as stated within the packet and described by Mr. Brooks.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Brooks, will you poll the council on this resolution, please?
Counselor Ellis,
Aye.
Counselor Arnold,
Aye.
Counselor Stevens,
Aye.
Counselor Hilton,
Aye.
Counselor Mitchell.
Aye.
Unanimous in favor. Move on to action item number 3. This is consideration of resolution 2020-17. This is to declare property held by the city as surplus or otherwise no longer viable for city use or purposes, and authorizing the use of sale of the same. Chief Brinkman.
Thank you, Mayor. This is city property that is gym equipment that we need to just get declared as surplus so that we can go ahead and replace that equipment with the new stuff that we were allotted in our current budgets. Or just approved, so we just need to get that declared a surplus, so we can go ahead and put it up for sale and attempts.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions for Chief Brightman?
Where was the equipment located?
It's located in our police department. We have a gym here in the police department downstairs, so it's just equipment that's in the gym currently.
I have a question for Cody.
Go ahead.
So, Cody, is there I don't know what we're gonna get for this, used equipment or anything like that, but if we donate it, is it more beneficial, or is it just too much work to try and donate it somewhere where we can get kind of a higher value?
So we don't really get any kind of like tax credits or anything like that for donating it. You're right, like a lot of times we get next to nothing from them. I'm just not, Rich might actually know better as to like an avenue to donate it. This equipment in particular, from what I know of it, is for the most part really, really old. And I don't know that anybody else would necessarily want it at this point. Like at the community center, what they do a lot of times is the stuff in the community center then goes to the senior center. And they kind of move it through, but I believe this equipment's so old that I don't know that anybody would really want it.
Yeah, the majority of stuff, specifically like the treadmills and elliptical, are extremely poor condition. One of them doesn't work at all. We've attempted to have it fixed, and we've had some problems with that. So it's in pretty poor condition.
Okay, I was just wondering if we could possibly support some of the Alpine Church, has supported us through the city, and see if there's a possibility of supporting them or somebody like that, the Utah Military Academy or something like that. So I'll make a motion, or if someone else has something to say. But move to approve resolution 2020-17 as stated within the packet.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Brooks, would you poll the council resolution, please?
Councilor Arnold?
Aye.
Councilor Stevens?
Aye.
Councilor Hilton?
Aye.
Councilor Mitchell?
Aye.
Councilor Ellis?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous in favor. I was thinking about your comment, Alan. I know the Utah Military Academy is doing that complete renovation there. I know they have a room that has probably a small amount of equipment in there. So I don't know, Chief, if you see that, I don't know what the process is to donate it, but Chief, if there's anything there that might be of any value or might be good for them, then, we might take a look at that, see if there's something there. But I know they value their pennies there, and they don't have a lot of equipment in their fitness rooms. So if there's anything that's there, you let me know, or we can find out. But if, like, say, most of it's wore out, probably not of value. So.
Well, what I was thinking is if you go through the list, how worn out are the weights, things like that. So that's the only reason I was just curious if there was a possibility that we could benefit the community as opposed to getting nominal value through, the online sales or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, if there is anything, Chief, we could work. I don't know what it takes to give it to somebody like that. Maybe it's easy to do, but
Yeah, we can take a look at that.
if there's something there, yeah, they may have a use. That's the only thing I would know, unless somebody else knows, but it's probably something to consider. They provide a lot of service to us, and they do a lot of good things. So, okay, we'll move on next to our closed executive session. This closed executive session is is pursuant to the provisions of Section UCA 52-4-205C. This is pending a reasonably imminent litigation to discuss that. So we'll need a roll call vote to, we need a motion first to move into our closed executive session.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Okay, was that you, Counselor Ellis?
Yes.
Okay, motion by Counselor Ellis, second by Counselor Arnold. To move into our closing. Excuse me?
Braden was he was motioning, but he didn't have his mute, or he was muted, so.
Didn't happen to any of us. Okay, we had a motion, we had a second, let's see, will you poll the council, Steve?
Counselor Stevens,
Aye.
Counselor Hilton,
Aye.
Counselor Mitchell, Counselor Ellis,
Aye.
Counselor Arnold.
Aye.
It's unanimous in favor, thank you. We'll now move into our closed executive session.
Okay, we need to wait just a second. I'm hitting stop.